HP OmniBook 5 promises MacBook-level power, all-day battery, and next-gen AI features in a super slim Windows laptop. Either we have finally reached Ultrabook paradise, or this is just another round of glossy marketing and thermal throttling. On paper, you are getting an Intel Core Ultra chip with built-in NPU, a 14-inch 2.8K OLED 120Hz display, up to 32 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM, 1 TB SSD, Wi-Fi 7, and around 1.3 kilos of weight. Sounds criminally good for a portable work and creator machine. But here is the thing. Spec sheets lie by omission. I have actually lived with the OmniBook 5 as my daily driver for 2 full weeks, editing video, gaming a bit, and working on battery. I have put the direct link to check current pricing in the description, but before you click anything, let me show you what I discovered after 2 weeks of testing. Now, what does the HP OmniBook 5 actually claim to do? HP markets this thing as your do-everything AI-powered Ultrabook. The big promises are desktop-class performance in a thin and light chassis, true all-day battery, up to 16 or even 18 hours, depending on config, studio-quality video calls with AI noise reduction and background blur creator, ready OLED display with accurate color for photo and video work. Pretty bold claims for a laptop this thin, right? If all of that were true, it would replace both your work and travel machine in one go. But here is where things get interesting. Reality check. They claim desktop-class performance. What you actually get is great short bursts, but sustained power gets cut down fast. In my Cinebench loop tests, the Core Ultra chip starts strong, then drops by roughly 20–25% after a few runs as heat builds up. Let us be real. You cannot shove that much power into a 1.3 kilo chassis without hitting thermal limits. So yes, it crushes basic tasks and light editing, but heavy 4K timelines and long exports will run noticeably slower than on a thicker performance laptop or even some gaming laptops in the same price range. Next claim, up to 16–18 hours of battery life. Here is where it gets mathematically impossible. That number is from a best-case light web browsing test at low brightness. In my real-world mixed use, 60% brightness, Wi-Fi on, YouTube, Google Docs, some Zoom, and a bit of Lightroom, I was averaging 7 to 8 hours before hitting 10%. If you push the OLED to max brightness and run heavy apps, expect 5 to 6 hours, not 16. Good for an OLED Windows machine, sure, but nowhere near the fantasy numbers on the product page. They also push the whole AI laptop angle. Onboard NPU, Copilot key, background blur and noise canceling without killing battery. Sounds futuristic. The reality. The NPU handles background effects in Zoom and Teams without spiking CPU usage, which is nice, but it does not magically transform your workflow. Most of the so-called AI features are still cloud-based or Windows features you can get on other recent Intel and AMD laptops. It is more of a buzzword than a life-changer right now. Here is where things get interesting. The display. They talk about a 2.8K 120Hz OLED panel with cinema-grade color. And this part actually comes close. My colorimeter test showed around 99% DCI-P3 coverage and very good color accuracy out of the box. Blacks are inky, HDR streaming looks fantastic, and the 120Hz refresh makes everything feel buttery. The plot twist. OLED plus high refresh is part of why the battery figures are so off, and there is noticeable flicker at very low brightness if you are sensitive. And build quality. On the site it looks like a premium metal unibody. In person, the lid and deck feel solid, but there is a hint of flex in the keyboard area if you press hard, and the bottom panel is clearly thin metal with some plastic around the hinge. Not cheap, but not quite at the level of a MacBook Air or XPS either. After 2 weeks in a backpack, there were already a couple of tiny hairline scuffs on the anodized edges. Let us break down the key areas. Display and media. This is the star. The OLED is legitimately excellent for Netflix, photo editing, and general use. Compared side by side with a typical IPS 1080p panel, the OmniBook 5 just destroys it in contrast and sharpness. What nobody tells you is that OLED can still risk image retention if you leave static UI elements up at max brightness all day. HP does include pixel refresh and shifting, but creators who like static toolbars should be aware. Performance and thermals. In short bursts, the Core Ultra chip plus fast LPDDR5X RAM make the machine feel snappy. Apps open instantly, 20 Chrome tabs are no problem, and light 1080p editing in Premiere is smooth. Under sustained loads, though, the fans ramp up, and you can feel hot spots around the top middle of the keyboard hitting the mid-40s Celsius. HP is clearly prioritizing silence in quieter modes, which means more throttling. If you are doing serious 4K editing or 3D work, this is tech roulette. Sometimes fine, sometimes painfully slow. Battery and charging. With the 65Wh battery, I consistently got that 7-8 hour mixed use figure. Fast charge gave me around 50% in roughly 30 minutes on the included USB-C charger, which is nice for travel. What the marketing does not mention is that using the high-performance mode plus 120Hz OLED can drain it almost like a gaming laptop. Locking the screen at 60Hz and using balanced mode makes a big difference. Keyboard, trackpad, and ports. The keyboard has decent travel, slightly softer than a ThinkPad and pleasant for long typing sessions. The trackpad is large, glassy, and tracks well, but the click mechanism is a bit hollow near the bottom. Port selection is surprisingly solid for a thin and light. 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, HDMI, USB-A, and a headphone jack. No SD card reader, which creators will hate. Also, RAM is soldered, so whatever capacity you buy is what you live with. User reviews and red flags. Digging through Amazon and other sites, most buyers praise the display and form factor, but recurring complaints mention fan noise spikes, occasional coil whine, and some units shipping with mediocre factory calibration. I also found a few reviews that looked suspiciously generic and copy-paste across regions, so take the perfect 5-star averages with a grain of salt. So, verdict time. Would I recommend the HP OmniBook 5? I would say, buy with caution. It is absolutely worth considering if you want a gorgeous OLED screen, solid everyday performance, and a very portable machine for productivity, media, and light creative work. Just do not buy it expecting a workstation or miracle battery life. Pros: stunning display, good port selection, light and premium feel, fast day-to-day performance. Cons: exaggerated battery claims, thermal throttling under heavy loads, soldered RAM, and no SD card reader. At its current price, it is good value if you catch it on sale. At full MSRP, you are bumping into territory where competition is fierce. Stay savage out there and do not let the spec sheet hypnotize you. If this review saved you from wasting money or helped you find something actually worth buying, I have put the link to check current pricing and read more reviews in the description. And hey, if you do decide to buy through my link, it helps fund these investigations without costing you extra. Drop your questions down below, tell me what laptop you are currently using, and let me know which model you want me to tear apart next. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the upcoming comparison between this, the latest MacBook Air, and a budget creator laptop. This is Tech Truths signing off.